Hey guys!
Hey guys!
We're back with another Sci-Fi Friday review, this time reviewing the sci-fi original series Dark Matter Season 2, Episode 3, titled I've Seen the Other Side of You. If you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Whew, what a tense episode from start to finish. It was just wall-to-wall tension all the way through.
Yeah, I didn't know what,
A little bit exhausting,
Yeah.
edge of your seat kind of episode. It was really, really good. Fantastic episode for 5.
Yes, oh, this was such a good 5 episode.
Yeah. I particularly liked the scene near the end of the episode when 5 kind of infiltrates 2's memories to find her weakest moment. And she's really beating her down, and then she goes, no, she draws back and goes, I can't take her down this way, despite the fact that the hologram android is encouraging her to do so. But no, she says, I want my friend back, and that actually gets through to 2.
In that scene, Portia was just, down, and that was some incredible acting to go from, she's always been this very, very strong, confident woman, to being weak and submissive and just beat down and just, that was incredible. She did a great job.
I also really loved 3 in this episode. He had a very touching moment when he had got his old memories back and he went through some of his more sentimental things, and 4 called him out on it.
Yeah.
But he found that locket or whatever that was from Sarah, and just that touching moment with 3 I thought was a very powerful scene, and I think it's an important scene for 3, particularly with the callback at the end of the episode when 5 brings him his box. Moving on to the 3 new sort of members of the Raza crew. Eric's, we know for sure now that he is the asset that the lady was talking about in the previous episode. He contacts her when the rest of the crew is down and out, and 5 very naively leaves him alone on the bridge.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, because sometimes it's hard to remember that she's a teenager, because, obviously the actress is older than that.
Yeah, Jodell's older than that.
And it's, she just carries herself very well. She's very mature, but even teenagers who are very mature for their age, they're still teenagers. And this was one of those moments that kind of reminds the audience this is still a teenager, because that was just incredibly naive and not very smart.
Yeah. And she goes, well, I'm going to go check on 2. And I'm like, no, you don't leave him on the bridge.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those overly trusting moments. And she does have that second where she looks back like, maybe I shouldn't leave him here alone. And then she leaves anyway. And all the happenings of this episode is going to make it really hard on the 3 new members to kind of incorporate themselves into the group.
Yeah, and to trust them.
They already kind of didn't trust each other. It's going to be even harder now.
Yeah, this episode definitely served to drive a bigger wedge between the 2 groups than was already there.
Imagine Eric's, because he is a mole. He's not really there to work as part of a team. He's probably going to get pushed out at some point, but I do think the other 2 members, I think they probably are going to be brought into the fold and become permanent members of the crew. Yeah,
I think so too. I see those 2 becoming members. Yeah, and I agree with Eric. I think because he's a mole, even if, sometimes they turn a new leaf and become good, I don't see this crew allowing him to stay once they figure out he's a mole. Whether he decides to, help them or not, I don't think it's going to matter. He's already betrayed them, that's going to be it.
And I guess kind of the same thing could be said about 6, but he was a member of the crew for a year or so. So there are levels of trust and affection and friendship there that just aren't there with Eric's. So I can see them writing him off, whereas they're not really ready to write off 6 yet.
And not only that, we only have other people's word that 6 was a mole. I'm still not convinced he was. I think they used him to, make him think he was a mole. I don't think he was actually a mole. But regardless, he's in stasis now, so they can't even really deal with this situation yet. It's just kind of on hold.
Last thing I want to mention is huge sigh of relief that Android came out of everything
Oh my
okay.
gosh, yes.
I think through the whole thing I was most worried about Android because
Yeah.
you know, they had to shut her down while she repaired herself, and I was really worried that she would come out of it a little bit differently and not her full self, but it definitely seems like she's A-okay.
Yes.
And I am really happy about that.
Yes, me too.
One more thing, every episode of Dark Matter kind of ends with this oh, and 3 accidentally triggered a beacon to some former associates, one of whom might be his father. What?
Yeah.
So crazy episode on the horizon for next week. Super excited about that. If you have anything to add, let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this review, let us know by dropping a like on it and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.